Thank you so much, Melissa. And thank you so much, ladies, for being here this evening. The tips and the information that I am going to share with you tonight are really going to help you get ready for the FemSport competition. I'm going to tell you how to best support your body in the process so that you can show up as the best version of yourself on competition day. So as Melissa mentioned, we're going to do some question and answer in the last 15 minutes. You can ask your questions at any time, so put them down in the chat box and I'll answer them all at the end. And then there's also, I've put in the chat box, I've added a couple of PDF handouts for you. So make sure to download those before this wraps up, because one of them is a recipe booklet. I'm going to refer to them a couple times throughout the presentation, and these are quick, they're easy, they're well balanced, they're perfect for before and after training sessions. And then I've also got some cheat sheets on balanced meals and hydration, a little bit more in detail than what I'm going to be going over today, so you can always refer to those later. And as Melissa mentioned, my name is Melina. I'm a certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and online trainer, and I'm really passionate about helping women through the power of nutrition to become stronger, fitter, healthier versions of themselves. And part of that is due to my own fitness journey that started back in 2012. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself because I think that it relates really well to the FemSport competition. So back in 2012, I was going through a divorce and I was actually hospitalized with anxiety due to the stress. And I'd lost 35 pounds in the process. I'm 5'9", and at the time I weighed around 130. So losing 35 pounds was really significant. And what I had to do is I had to go back to the gym. I had to start eating healthier, more well-rounded meals in order to become stronger, fitter, and healthier. And I gained back that 35 pounds and I became the strongest and fittest version of myself that I'd been in my entire life, even in my 20s. And then in 2018, I stepped on stage in a bikini fitness competition and I achieved a goal that I didn't think would be possible for me, being over 35 and having the history that I did. And so it really was a reclaiming of my strength and my power to reach that goal. And I think that that relates really well to the FemSport competition as well, gaining that strength and that power that you didn't even know that you had, and really making yourself proud on competition day. So that's what we're going to talk about today, on how to come up with the best version of yourself through your training and helping yourself recover well, which is critical. So how to support your body. Nutrition is really key, and that's why I've put that first in the slide. Having well-rounded nutrition, fueling your body, helping your body recover after the training session is really important, as well as getting enough sleep and helping your body adapt to stress. So every time you show up to a training session, you're going to be putting your body through some stress, really beneficial, really healthy stress, and then you want to make sure to recover well, because you're going to be doing your training, but your body is going to adapt to that during the recovery process. So to show up stronger, to show up with more endurance, and to improve throughout your training, that recovery process is really, really critical. So we're going to do that through nutrition and stress management and getting that good sleep. So in the handouts that I've given you, through the recipes, I've got a few really great smoothies. Smoothies are really great to take either before or after your training session, especially if you're going to be eating close to your training session, because they often come with, I'll show you. I've actually got a whey protein here, really high quality whey protein. And also, if you're plant-based, we've got really high quality plant-based proteins, and these often come with digestive enzymes in them to help you digest even quicker and better for your training session. And I'll talk about well-balanced snacks as well, and homemade electrolyte drinks. You can also purchase electrolyte drinks. That's what I do, even though I've got the recipe in there. I do add electrolytes directly to my fluids. I've even got them here today, and you can also get them as a capsule version if you don't want to drink them. but those are in the handouts there. So those are really important, really key parts of the nutrition. And then I've also got some recommendations on how to best balance your meals with a good ratio of protein, carbohydrates, fats, as well as some hydration recommendations. So before training, ideally you want to eat a well-balanced meal within 3 hours of your training. 1 to 2 hours is best for most people, but as long as you eat within 3 hours, you're going to be fueling your body with the energy that it needs in order to perform well. So like I mentioned with the quick digesting, the liquids, smoothies, yogurts, things that already contain protein powders that are already partly digested, so you're not showing up doing a training session with a full stomach and your body's needing to digest. It already has that fuel right there, ready to perform. If you're going to be eating on the further end, the 3 hours, then you're going to want to do whole foods, your chicken, your steak, sweet potato, rice, add in some healthy fats, olive oil, avocado, things like that. They're going to digest a little bit slower so that even though you've eaten 3 hours away from your training session, you're still going to have that in your system. It's going to have digest a little bit slower so that when you show up, you've still got that energy to perform. So depending on, we all have busy lives. You don't necessarily have to plan your life around the training session. Just know that if you're going to be eating closer to allow for that and do a liquid smoothie, or if it's going to be further and be 3 hours away, then plan it around a meal. And so protein, the 3 components that I have there, the protein, carbohydrates, and fats. The protein component is really important to help you gain and maintain your muscle mass. So every time that you show up and you do your training, you're going to be tearing your muscle a little bit because your muscle is going to need to adapt to it's going to need to lift the stronger weights, right? And so it's going to create more muscle in order to give you that strength that you need to show up even stronger the next time. And the way that your body is going to do that is through the protein. If you're not getting enough protein, then your body may not be able to restore that muscle that it needs to. And it's also going to help you be less sore, especially in the beginning of your training session. When you first start out, anytime you do a new training program, you're going to be sore easier, longer, right? And getting enough protein in there is going to help reduce that sore time so that the next time you show up, you might not be as sore, right? It's just going to help you reduce that, and especially important in the beginning. Carbohydrates are going to help you perform better. They give you a lot of energy straight out of the gate. Your body doesn't need to process it quite as much as it's going to need to do with protein. And so you get that quick energy to perform. And together, paired with protein, that's going to help you build muscle. So unless you're doing a keto diet or something like that, the carbohydrates are going to be important for you. Fats are going to help you digest your meal slower, and it's going to even out your blood glucose and insulin levels, keep them even through your training so that you stay on a nice even keel. If you've ever had a meal and then an hour later felt hungry again, it could be because it wasn't well-rounded, it wasn't balanced enough, you didn't have enough fats in there to slow the digestion down a little bit, right? And then during training, of course, you're not going to be eating in the middle of training, but making sure that you keep that hydration through an electrolyte solution is going to be really, really important. You're going to want to sip on them. You don't want to guzzle them and have a bunch of water sloshing in as you jump up on that riser, right? You just want to sip on it and make sure that you're replenishing those electrolytes and replenishing those fluids that you're losing when you're sweating, right? I live in Kamloops, and it can get to be 40 degrees. So especially if you're going to be training outside, that's going to be even that much more important. And the electrolytes help keep that hydration in your tissues. So I ended up being hospitalized with a heart arrhythmia, and the cardiologist came in and he let me know it's a heart arrhythmia that I have previous to this. It's nothing to do with electrolytes, but he said that I was triggered from being dehydrated. And I said, there's no way I'm dehydrated. I've had 3 to 4 liters of water today. and he asked about my training. I had trained the day before, and he asked me if I've added electrolytes. And I did not add electrolytes. And he said, then even though you're drinking lots of water, you're peeing it right out. You're not actually keeping it within your tissues. So once I started adding back in the electrolytes, and I actually took them out because I was trying to save money, which was the worst thing ever. Whenever you try and do that, it bites you back in the butt. And once I started using the electrolytes again, that's when I stopped getting the heart arrhythmias, because the hydration, the fluids that I was drinking were actually staying in my tissues. I wasn't just peeing them out. And so especially as it got hotter out, and if you're training outside, that's going to be really important so you don't get muscle cramps and you don't end up like me and drink a lot of water and not be hydrated. You want that hydration to actually stay in your tissues, which is what the electrolytes are going to help you do. And on the handout as well, I've written these figures down so you don't have to memorize them, but adding in essential amino acids is also really important during your training sessions. And I've also got a couple different figures there. You take a bit more during your training because you want to help reduce the muscle soreness. And then you take a bit less during competition because you're only trying to boost your performance and your strength. And you don't want to tax your body too much by making it, process more than it needs to. So something like this Innovite Muscle Rescue, this one's actually my favorite one, my favorite essential amino acid. You may be familiar with the branch chain amino acids. Those are 3 amino acids that are essential. And so this has the branch chain amino acids as well as all the essential amino acids that your muscles are going to need. Oh, sorry, my screen went away. It's back. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So these, taking them on their own in the middle of training is going to help reduce muscle soreness, and it's going to help your muscles heal better and come back stronger because it's replenishing what your body is losing during the training session. And then after your workout, ideally you want to eat a well-balanced meal within 2 hours for best recovery. So if you, at the beginning of your training session, say it was 3 hours that you'd eaten, you're probably going to be pretty hungry and ready to refuel right after your training session. If that happens, again, you're going to want to do your protein powders, smoothies, something that's pre-digested, one of the recipes that's in the recipe guide there that's your body's not going to need to process really hard, right? And that way it goes right into your muscles and helps to help you recover. Especially when you're training, our blood flow is going to our muscles and it's not necessarily going to our digestive tract. So even though you might be hungry, you might not feel like eating, or you might get a sore stomach. So by making sure to have something that digests really easily, like a smoothie, that's really going to help your body overall. And that way you're not skipping the food just because you don't want to eat. You're still getting those nutrients that your body needs. And if you ate sooner to your training session, then afterwards, you might just want to have a regular meal, right? So within the 2 hours, you could wait 2 hours and have your regular dinner, your regular lunch that you were going to have anyway. And I've made a mention there about natural sugars in fruits. The natural sugars in fruits are really going to help replenish your body because it's a real simple sugar, and your body is going to be able to best utilize that form of carbohydrate right after your training session. So if you're craving a little bit of sugar, this is the time to add in, a little bit of your chocolate bar, a little bit of ice cream, or be healthier, right? And getting your natural sugars from fruit, because your body is going to be able to use those simple sugars that much better. And it's going to help your muscles recover and help you build new muscles as well. And it's for you to get stronger. So now that we've talked a little bit about the foundation of nutrition and hydration, I'm going to share a few ways to further support your body in its recovery to add to that foundation. So as women, we have busy lives. We wear many different hats. You might have kids, career, you've got your partner, little life stresses, right? And so we want to keep the stress levels under control so that you can show up as at 110% on competition day. as I've put on the slide there, a little bit of stress is a good thing. When you do your training, that stress is going to help your body adapt to the training, and that's what's going to help you become stronger, increase your endurance. And so we want our cortisol levels to go up a little bit. We want that good stress to be able to perform, but it all adds together. So you might have a little bit of stress through your training, and then you've got additional stress in your life, and the little bit can add together, and you can end up hitting a wall or overtraining. And what that is that's basically under recovering. So if you think of your body as a car and you think of the fuel and the things that you put in it as the gas, we always want to go to the gas station a little bit and fill our car with gas, right? If you're down the highway and you run out of gas, it's a real problem. You got to get out, you got to either push your car to the gas station or call someone to come and help you. And it's a big deal when you run out of gas. And it's the same with your body. If you're not supporting it well enough, you're going to hit a wall, you're going to end up overtraining, and it's harder to recover from that than if you filled your body up with that little bit of gas as you went along and just avoid that whole scenario entirely. And now this happened to me when I was training in 2018. And some of the stuff you don't even know is happening within your body, right? So you always want to make sure to support it really well. With the fitness competition that I did, there was a part of it that involved dieting down. So in the last 8 weeks, I started getting really anxious. I started getting an elevated heart rate first thing in the morning. I was ravenous. I had insomnia, and I started getting all the sicknesses that my kids were bringing home. I started getting sick often. And instead of, recovering from my training in the usual 2 to 3 days, it was taking me about 5 days of soreness before I would recover. And so those are the typical signs of overtraining, that you have changes in your hunger levels. You're either really hungry or you're never hungry, or you have insomnia, or you need to sleep all the time. And so once you start noticing that, then you've already hit the wall. You've already started overtraining. And what that was for me is I was dieting. So I was getting less nutrition into my body. I had low iron levels that I didn't know that I had. And so once my body was still trying to build the muscle, still trying to recover, it depleted my iron stores that much further. So I started getting the symptoms of being anemic and, of course, not sleeping, right? So prevention is key. You don't want to end up there. It's not a good place to be. And so there are some things that you can do to avoid under recovering to help keep your gas tank full. Nutrition is going to be a huge part of that, staying hydrated, making sure you're getting a good night's sleep. I know that can be hard to do with, everything that we do, but even taking, making 1 or 2 nights a week, making those a priority to get a good night's sleep, really, it's going to be worth it in the long run. Now here I'm going to talk about a few different supplements that you can add into that foundation that are just going to help fuel that gas tank for you to keep you full. Now the first one that I have mentioned there is creatine. Creatine is one of the most well-studied supplements that are out there. One of the safest because we know so much about it. You might think of creatine as, one of those things that the guys take in the gym in order to gain more muscle. And that's not really what it's about. It's actually giving energy to your cells. So if you remember back to science class, ATP is the energy, the fuel for our cells. So it's really going to help you with those short, fast bursts of movement. So jumping onto the platform, doing a tire flip, get that first little bit of sprint out, right? Doing your clean and press, that first burst, this is really going to help you be more powerful with that, which is going to help increase your training because you're able to have that extra energy in your cells and your muscles. It's going to help you, just give you a little bit of an edge to build extra strength, extra endurance, right? The second one there with those beautiful smoothie bowls, that's actually, they've made those smoothie bowls with beetroot powder, with beetroot crystals. And beetroot helps increase the nitric oxide in your body. So it helps give you that pump, helps increase your blood flow. In the process, it's going to increase endurance, and it's going to give you better muscle recovery. So the effects are actually going to be similar to creatine. They're both going to give you good muscle recovery. So if you ever see people where they're talking about their vascularity at the gym, you know, they've done a workout and they've got those veins that you see, right? A lot of times that's from either a pre-workout that they've taken or beetroot crystals, which is going to help improve blood flow, which is only going to be beneficial because it's all going to your muscles, right? It's giving extra blood flow to your muscles. And adaptogens. Adaptogens are herbs and foods. You can see there's mushrooms in there. Those are likely reishi mushrooms and some turmeric in there. And right in the middle is ashwagandha. And ashwagandha is actually my favorite. This is the one that I like to take. These are, as they sound, they help you adapt to stress, both physical and mental. So people will take this for anxiety and depression, but it also helps your body reduce the side effects of the physical stress. So if you're overreacting to stress, it's going to bring you back down to baseline. And if you're underreacting to stress, it's going to bring you back up to baseline. Most of us overreact to stress, or cortisol levels, you know, from lack of sleep or work stressors or family stressors are already quite high. You want to bring them back down to baseline. Like I said, you know, a bit of stress is really good. So you don't want to eliminate your cortisol levels entirely, because then you're not going to adapt to the training that you're doing. You just want to bring it back down to baseline, which is what adaptogens like ashwagandha do, is they help bring your stress levels back to a normal level. So especially if you're noticing that you're really fatigued for your workouts or you're not recovering well, adding this in can help reduce that fatigue. It's also going to help you sleep better. Oftentimes you'll take an adaptogen before bed, and because it reduces those stress levels, you're going to sleep better. So you're going to recover better. Because as I mentioned before, training, that's going to help your body adapt, but your body actually adapts during the recovery process. So that's why recovery is so critical, because you can work out really hard, you can do really hard training, but if you're not adapting, you're not going to come back necessarily stronger or with better endurance. So adding these things in are really going to help that to happen. Now the last one there, L-glutamine, this is again another amino acid. So just like the essential amino acids, L-glutamine is an amino acid. L-glutamine our body does produce on its own, but it's considered a conditional essential amino acid. So our body produces it, but under times of stress or intense training, our body doesn't produce enough. And it helps with muscle recovery. Again, it'll help reduce the soreness of your muscles during training. And it's also really good for intestinal health and liver health. Our intestines use it as a source of nutrition, actually, the cells in our intestinal lining. So it's like a double duty amino acid that you can add in with the essential amino acids that I mentioned earlier. They make a really good combo, especially at the beginning when you're going to be extra sore. These together are going to help you reduce that soreness, which in the beginning of having a new training program, that's critical, right? And then the last one here that I'm mentioning, pre-workout. I get asked a lot about pre-workouts. Pre-workouts are really popular. You don't need to do anything crazy. You know, a lot of people will take pre-workouts and they're jittery and they're itchy and all the rest. Coffee, caffeine, so coffee, tea, really well studied to help boost performance. It literally gives you that bit of gas to come into your training session and perform really well. But a lot of times, me especially, I am sensitive to caffeine. So if you get jitters or it makes you anxious, I really like to pair it with L-theanine. L-theanine is another amino acid. It actually comes from green tea leaves. And this one in particular, the mental calmness, is 10 times stronger than what you would get in a regular cup of green tea. So they've extracted it, and this the suntheanine, L-theanine, is standardized, so it's the same. You know, you're always getting the same strength. And when you take it paired with the coffee. If you have a coffee or a tea, when you take it together, you're going to get that energy without the jitters, without the anxiety, and you're going to feel really good. It also helps to boost cognitive function. So some people will refer to L-theanine as a nootropic. And so especially when you're doing training for fem sport, you need to have your mind in the game, right? And so this will help to calm your mind, get you focused in combination with the caffeine, with the coffee, so that you can perform really well during your training session. So just to recap, what you want to focus on and what are going to help you support your body the best is going to be those whole nutritious foods before and after training. Those are so critical and really are the foundation of helping your body to recover for increased strength, increased endurance, and then keeping yourself well hydrated with the electrolyte so that you're actually utilizing that hydration. You're actually keeping it in your tissues. It's not only going to help you avoid cramping. The last thing you want to do is have your calf cramp as you jump up onto a riser, right? It's also going to make sure that you don't end up like me and get a heart palpitations because you're sweating in the sun, right? It's going to help you avoid all that and keep the hydration actually in your muscles, in your tissues. Prioritizing sleep and managing your stress levels by making sure to keep that fuel in your body, keep those, all those things that I talked about. Those are going to help put the gas back in your body's tank to make sure that you don't end up like me and end up under recovering or overtraining or hitting a wall. That's the last thing you want to do when you're training, because it can really set you back. So making sure to prevent, they always say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And that is so true. So don't do as I did. Make sure to support your body as best as possible during your training sessions, because that way you'll just be that much stronger when it comes to competition day, so that you can show up as the strong and powerful woman that you are. So I just want to thank you all for coming here today. If you have any questions and you haven't asked them yet, make sure to ask them now, and then Melissa will ask them of me here at the end. And make sure to download those PDFs, because those have a lot of really great recipes that you can use, those protein powders, and whip them up at home really quickly, really easily, because I'm a single mama. I got 2 kids, I've got 2 businesses, and then I also work part-time. So I know how it is. You want to just be able to grab something really quick, really easily, but also bring that nutrition to your body. So keep it whole foods. And that's what is in those PDFs there for you.
There we go.
Oh, there you
go. Hello. That was so good. Thank you. See, what did I say? She's a wealth of knowledge. And honestly, Melina, your passion shines through. So thank you.
I can feel myself getting excited at the end.
I could feel your excitement as well. All right, let's get some questions coming in. And I think to make it more exciting, those that ask questions, we're going to put your name into a draw to win a $25 gift card from Nature's Fair. So anybody that asks a question, I will throw your name into a draw.
Those are good prizes.
I know, right? Can I enter this draw? While we're waiting for questions to come in, Melina, can you let us know if anybody wants to talk to you more or do some coaching with you, where can they find you?
So my website is melinafit.com, which is MALINAFIT.com. And that's my website there. And it has all my socials and contact information right on there. You can just send me an email right through the website.
Perfect. All right, we'll give everybody another minute to ask a question. I'm telling you, this is an easy one. All you have to do is ask a question. And if you're anything like me, you love questions.
I do.
So, Melina, what got you into training to begin with? Bring us right back to the start.
Back in 2012?
Yeah.
So I'd always gone to the gym a little bit. I'm a little bit thinner, so I always wanted to gain muscle. But I did take a bit of a break from the gym When I had my children, I just got busy, but needing to gain back that muscle, that lean muscle mass in order to become healthier after my divorce and gain back that 35 pounds that I'd lost, that really brought me back to the gym, and seeing those results of what fueling your body with good nutrition and having a really good training plan could do, that just got me really passionate to share that with other people. Because I think as we get older too, I mean, I'm almost 40, it's important to keep active, keep healthy, not only mentally, but physically. And so I'm really passionate about it.
We actually,
I can't hear you.
That better?
There. Yeah.
Good old audio issues. There we go. There's some questions. All right. First off, we've got a question saying this lovely lady is 60 years old and is wondering if the plan fits all ages.
Yes. So on the PDF here, I talk more about a balanced meal, protein, carbohydrates. I break it down into starchy and fibrous carbohydrates and also fats. And there's a little diagram right at the bottom with your hand. So our hands travel with us everywhere, and they are sized for our body. So whether you're smaller or larger, or it's going to be sized perfectly to your body. So the amount of protein, starchy carbohydrates, fibrous carbohydrates, and fats that your body are going to need to fuel yourself appropriately, it's going to be just on your hand. And that way, especially as we get older, so in your 60s, getting in high quality protein sources is going to be even more important, because as we age, unfortunately, we don't absorb things as well as we used to, say, in our teens or 20s. And so even if you're eating a lot of high quality protein, we're not necessarily absorbing it all. So you want to make sure to eat sort of at the higher end of protein. And then that way you're going to be fueling your body to keep that lean muscle mass, which is really important as we age, especially as women, to keep that lean muscle mass. And so making sure to eat high quality sources of protein often, even adding in the essential amino acids, that's going to be even that much more critical for you, because even if you eat a ton of high quality sources, you're not necessarily absorbing it all. So having something like the Muscle Rescue, which is actually 2 times more muscle building power than even a whey protein does, that's going to help you keep that lean muscle mass and even gain lean muscle mass, which is possible well into all ages with the right nutrition.
Excellent. All right, next up, do you prefer creatine or Muscle Rescue?
If I had to pick one.
Yeah.
I would do the Muscle Rescue. If I had to pick one, I would do the Muscle Rescue. I do both. So I don't even want to choose. Creatine I will use for 3 or 4 months, and then I'll take a month off. And essential amino acids, it depends on how much protein you're eating. So especially if you are vegan or plant-based, or you know that you're not getting enough protein in, then that's going to be even more important. I didn't go to the gym for those 3 months that quarantine happened here, and I lost some muscle. And so I went on the Muscle Rescue when I went back to the gym and when I went back to my training, and I was blown away by how effective it was. So it kind of depends on your goals and your lifestyle. Are you eating enough protein? Are you not? If I had to choose one, that's sort of the thought process that I would go through. Ideally, I would do both. I personally do both.
All right, next up, we've got a really good question, actually. I have issues with retaining water. Do electrolytes help with that?
It depends on if you're retaining water because of a health issue. So certain kidney diseases, disorders could cause that. A lot of time, if everything else is, health-wise, is okay. If we're dehydrated, our body actually retains water. So I know if I don't drink enough water one day, I wake up in the morning and your hands kind of feel puffy and stiff, and you know that you're retaining water, and your body's retaining it because you didn't drink enough fluids. So staying well hydrated, which is what the electrolytes are going to help you do. It's going to keep that hydration in your tissues. So it's going to help keep your body, by keeping your tissues better hydrated. So in that sense, that could help with water retention. If you're retaining it because you're not drinking enough water or you're not staying well hydrated, it's just going to help flush your body. Once you're well hydrated, you're just going to pee out that extra water. You're not going to retain it anymore because you're well hydrated.
Great answer. Okay, I think that's it for the questions. So I'm going to throw those 3 names into a random name generator.
Good luck, ladies.
1, 2, and 3.
We're going to do it live. Yes.
The winner is number 2. So who's the second person to ask a question? That would be Miss Betty Hindle.
Congratulations.
All right, Betty. Congratulations. Betty, I am throwing my email address up in the chat. naturesfair.com. Send me a message, and we will get you sorted with your $25 gift card. All right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Melina. That was really, really good. And don't forget, we're going to be sending out a link for the next registration for part 2 of your series next month. And please join us for that one as well.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.